Let me take this opportunity to start kicking off our session this morning. We are a little bit behind our schedule, but I hope we'll be able to catch up. We know they've been having another programs, and we're a little bit late. So let me very quickly welcome you to this very important session, during which we'll hear a presentation from our Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Honorable Hussein Bashe. After that, we'll have a short video, and then we'll give some time to the floor for any interventions or comments. But before we start, let me start with the introduction. And I have the honor to introduce the Minister for Agriculture, who is going to be our main speaker in this session, Honorable Hussein Bashe. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Waziri. And seated on his left is Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Nchemba Mguli. Karibu sana Waziri. And then we have the Minister for Agriculture, Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar, Honorable Shamata Sham Hamis. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Waziri. And then we have Honorable Suleiman Masoud Makame, the Minister for Blue Economy and Fisheries, the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar. Honorable Ministers, we have in the room our partners, and I would just like to introduce them by groups. Our development partners, those who are here, please, if you can just stand up and wave. Karibuni sana. We have the private sector, representative from the private sector. Karibuni sana. The NGOs, if we have NGOs, karibuni sana. We have the youth. I think I've seen the youth group around. Karibuni. We do have some translation facilities for those who wish to access that service, and you can get the gadgets. For those who are just walking in, you can get them at the desk as you walk in. And the channels for the translation, number 1 is English, number 2 is French, number 3 is Portuguese, and number 4 is Swahili, excuse me. As I said, we have a very important presentation from the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. This is a show on Tanzania on the agricultural sector. And I'm sure there is no other person who will be in a position to present this case than our Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Hussein Bashe. We have seen his energy, his enthusiasm, and commitment in the transformation and the commercialization of agriculture. So we are all eager to hear what he has to say. And we all hope that we'll be able to contribute to the discussions as we go forward. So without much ado, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister to make his presentation. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Waziri.
Habari ya asubuhi. Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Let me take this opportunity, first of all, to thank God for the day, because it has been a long journey, and I'll take this opportunity to thank all the ministers in front of us. Minister of Finance, Mwigulu, thank you very much. In Swahili we say my pacha, my counterpart, Minister of Agriculture from Zanzibar, Minister of the Blue Economy from Zanzibar, and all the private sector in Tanzania. Today is what we call the Tanzanian Showcase, and just highlighting areas whereby we believe we need partnership as a country. And as we all know that global economies are no longer in silos. What affects one person affects the other part. When there is one opportunity in one area and well utilized, it can resolve the problem on the other part of the world. And with the current phenomena, we have seen how the crisis in Europe, specifically in Ukraine, has affected the entire global economy. And we are still facing crisis. And I believe if the global leaders arrive into consensus and peace restored in Ukraine, we will come one day to discuss the post-Ukraine crisis, as we did on the post-COVID crisis. So it's a high time that we start now analyzing the opportunities available on the globe and create a stable economy which will protect our future and create an inclusive economy. Apart from the political threats, but we have one big threat globally, which is environment, which needs collective resource allocation, planning, so that to create a sustainability in the growth of our world, in the growth of the economy. So in Tanzania we are ready. The policies and the direction, the vision of our President Samia Suluhu Hassan is the agricultural transformation and the economic transformation in our country being led by the government, but the key player is the private sector. Government don't trade mainly, but government facilitates to create sustainability on our economies. As we all know, the agricultural sector contributes 26% of the GDP in Tanzania, employs 65% of the population. But the population of Tanzania, recently statistics shows that we are 61 million people. But this is the youngest nation in the world. The average age of a Tanzanian is 18 years old. When we take the average age of Africa is 20, Asia is 30, Europe is 40. So there is a huge labor force in Tanzania. It's the young nation, but the country has over 44 million hectares arable land for irrigation, for agriculture, for food production. But currently, we are utilizing between 12 to 15%. But also the productivity is still very low. 70% of the farmers in our country are smallholder farmers. The yield are still very low. The government is doing a lot of transformation, and thanks to the Minister of Finance, Dr. Mwigulu, when the president came to the power, she decided to develop an inclusive economy, whereby the government budgets now, majority of the public funding is allocated to the agricultural sector, where a majority of people are employed. But the issue is not only allocating. The issue is, if you allocate 100 shilling, how much has been disbursed as per the plan? I thank you, Mwigulu. The first budget increase was last year, when the budget of the agricultural sector was increased from 290 billion shilling to close to 950 billion shilling, whereby 72% has been disbursed on the last financial year. But where the government is putting money, we know if you come to invest in Tanzania, the first thing is you look on the regulations and the policies. The second thing, if you want to invest in the agricultural sector, you say, where is the land? How can we access land? The government embarked in a huge program called Block Farm System. What the government is doing, we acquire the land. We don't grab the land. We acquire by the law. If it needs compensation, we pay compensation. The government does proper soil analysis. If you come to the Ministry of Agriculture, you'll come straight, you say you want to farm what? Sunflower. Go to Singida. We have 150,000 acres. What do you want? The second thing is, we give what we call subleasing title of 66 years. I repeat, we give you a subleasing title of 66 years. But we will sign with you a performance agreement. That what is your business plan? When are you going to utilize this land? When is it going to be utilized? And then you'll be taken to the TIC for the TIC to facilitate you with all the necessary opportunity. But when you produce, we consider agriculture and livestock and fishery as a business. You know, historically, a farmer goes to the farm. When the farmer produces, he's alone. But when he gets the crop, they become public properties. We start putting regulations, say you cannot sell rice, you cannot sell maize. Those are history in Tanzania. You produce what you want to produce and you'll sell anywhere in the world. We will not ask you a question. It is the role of the government to make sure the Tanzanians are well secured in terms of food. We are food surplus. And that's why the government decided to invest a lot of money on the infrastructure development, on the irrigation. We put a lot of money on the post-harvest losses. And the government has changed the operations of the post-harvest losses and the storage facility. Through National Food Reserve Agency, through cereal boards, and other infrastructure cooperatives, we allow private sector to use the public properties for their storage. They do aggregation, they can use government infrastructure for their storage, so that they wait and later on sell. But because of the logistic and location of Tanzania, Tanzania has become a hub for the fertilizer business. Most of the traders and big companies invest in Tanzania on the logistics and the storage of the fertilizer so that they can trade with other landlocked countries. But the government knows that if we want to increase productivity, we have to reduce the cost of production. We embarked in a huge program on the fertilizer subsidy. It was a huge discussion. Some people said that, you know, whatever you are doing on the subsidy is a distortion to the market. Thanks to the African Development Bank, they understood our game plan. And we say the subsidy program is not only for smallholder farmers. In Swahili we say kilimo sio umaskini. Most of the time people, when they discuss smallholder farmers, they think of 1 acre, 0.5. The program of this country now is, when we define smallholder farmers, we start with 10 acres. That's our definition. So we are trying to help the smallholder farmers. Instead of using small land, we aggregate them in a bigger blocks so that they can get economies of scale. And even the subsidy scheme of the government did not only focus on smallholder farmers. We are intending to reduce the cost of production. We allowed even the large-scale farmers to access fertilizer, which was subsidized, because the bottom lines are very clear. We want to increase the productivity. So these are the areas whereby we think that the country is doing. We have transformed on the policies of the trade, on the agricultural areas. My counterpart, Minister of Livestock, on the engagement, he will tell you more on the opportunities on the livestock. But this is the second largest country in Africa with a lot of cows and goats. Yesterday in the presentation, if you take we were told by one professor that if you decide to take all the Tanzanians of the 18 years old and you take all the cows and distribute to them, the average is every Tanzanian will get maybe 2 or 1 cow. 1 cow, eh? Yes, every Tanzanian will get 1 cow. So there is a huge opportunities on the livestock sector. There is what we call national ranches, land, whereby the government is promoting the possibility of allowing private people to use public infrastructure. We are embarking in a huge program for the development of the infrastructure on the seed multiplication. The government is putting a lot of irrigation on the seed farms owned by the government. But who will produce the seed? Not the government. The government will focus on the research and development, get the right variety, allow the private sector to do multiplication, and the government will offtake the seed to distribute to the smallholder farmers at the subsidized rate. This is the second year, and we are going to do this for the next 8 years. And this has helped us now, out of the 60,000 metric tons of quality seeds produced by the United Republic of Tanzania, which is 50% of the demand, over 70% of that docket is done by the private sector. There is a huge opportunity on the fertilizer infrastructure. There is a deposits of phosphates, and some of our investors are here. I can see Minjingu is around. He started very small, but we have a huge facility, soon will be inaugurated by Her Excellency the President, of a 1 million metric tons installed capacity in Dodoma of the organochemical fertilizer. But the fertilizer consumption and uptake has grown from 300,000 metric tons to 580 last agricultural season. But we are targeting a consumption at least of 1 million metric tons by next 2 years. This is an area whereby, but the population of Tanzania by 2030 is projected to be 80 million. 2050, we are projecting the Tanzanian population to be 130 million people. But we all know the agribusiness in Africa is expected to be over 1 trillion in the near future. So all these are the opportunities around. And our country is ready to host. And with the policies done by our counterpart Minister of Finance, is that if you can bring in your capital here, when you are taking your profits out, we will not question you, because that's your money. If you have paid your taxes and the liabilities of the government, why should we ask you where you're taking your profits? But we will encourage you to reinvest by showing you available opportunities. So in short, is that we are developing a framework which will allow the private sector to be the driver of our economy. Now the country is toward what we call 2050 vision. But the backbone of the 2050 vision would be a private sector approach. And one of the key sector for the driver is agricultural sector. So let me take this opportunity to conclude my remarks by saying that this country has gone through different levels of the transformation. The infrastructures now are right, the policies are right, but one area which has not been tapped is the available resources on the production side, and that's the agricultural sector in a broader context. And we can only tap those resources by partnering with the private sector. The government now is allocating, we have started now preparing the lands for that. We are doing the ecological survey. We have created what we call Tanzania Agricultural Growth Corridors. When you come to this country now, you don't need to start doing the research and analysis to see if I get a land here, what should I produce? When you come, you'll be given a data and understand your market. Out of this 10 crop, what can you produce? What is your market? We want the production of the agricultural sector to be market oriented. We will not force people to produce what they don't want to invest on. Those days are gone. And the vision of the President of the United Republic of Tanzania is to create an inclusive economy with a sustainable growth by respecting the private equity. The government has decided to reduce the cost of capital on the production by instructing the regulator, the central bank, that every dollar or shilling going in the production should not be charged more than 9% interest. Initially, the loans which were taken to the agricultural sector, the cost of fund were over 15, 20, 30. You cannot make profit on the agricultural sector with 30% interest rate. Maybe we produce marijuana, I don't know. But by producing maize, you can't make that money. So it was a deliberate decision made by the president that you people from the finance and from the central bank, I want single digit. Thanks to Tanzania Agricultural Development Bank, we have a vehicle called TADB in this country. The role of TADB is to de-risk and give guarantees to people who are investing into agricultural sector. We came up as a country with what we call export guarantee schemes under the Ministry of Finance. And nakushukuru kaka for that, on behalf of myself and my counterparts in the agro sector. Because the money people, they always see us as a risk. So we ask them, what do you want? I don't know if the commercial banks are here. What do you want? We want guarantee, no problem. Last year, we launched what we call export guarantee scheme. So if you want to produce for export purpose, you'll knock the door of the Ministry of Agriculture. We will take you to the big boy and tell him that, my friend, these are people who wants to do this. But also the government is bailing out some of the companies. We are in a huge scheme now to analyze big companies in the agricultural sector whom faced a huge problem on the COVID era and did not do their business properly, so that the Ministry of Finance can take that role, because there is no harm to protect your private sector. Even big economies does the same. So the United Republic of Tanzania welcomes you all. And let me conclude by saying karibuni sana, and we have good people here. You are safe with your money. Politically, we are stable. Every 5 years we go for election, and you have never heard there is a bloodshed in this country since Mwalimu Nyerere era. Asanteni sana.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Hussein Bashe, for that really excellent presentation on the situation of agriculture in Tanzania, the very important vision that is already in place. Tanzania is ready for investment. Agriculture is extremely important in the socio-economic development of the country. And all this environment has been created for the private sector to thrive and all the other players. It is about a very strong partnership to realize this objective. We are now going to have a brief presentation of video, after which we'll then welcome the floor to have some comments or contribution. I hope the video presentation is ready.
Tanzania is a prime agricultural destination of unmatched potential with an exceptional range of comparative advantages. Tanzania stands as the epitome of agricultural excellence. The country's agricultural sector is fortified by a wealth of opportunities that beckon prospective investors to harness its bountiful resources and embark on a journey of large-scale commercial farming. Tanzania's allure as an agricultural haven is founded upon its unmatched comparative advantages. The canvas of 44 million hectares of arable land, the promise of farming and agro-processing potentials, coupled with plentiful water resources, favorable climate, and the synergy between local demand and export potential, collectively set the stage for an agricultural renaissance. For those with the vision to seize this opportunity, Tanzania stands ready to transform agricultural ambitions into thriving realities. In the next few minutes, we'll explore three key value chains: avocado, sunflower, and wheat, uncovering the government's objectives, market data, demand forecasts, and exciting investment possibilities. Let's start with avocado. Often referred to as green gold, this crop is part of a rapidly growing sector in Tanzania's agriculture. The main objective of the government is to increase the production of avocado products from over 188,000 tons in 2021-2022 to 315,000 tons by 2026-2027 by increasing the production area from over 27,000 hectares now to around 46,000 hectares and enhancing productivity. With its favorable climate and fertile soil, Tanzania has the potential to become a major player in the global avocado market. Tanzania currently exports a substantial portion of its avocados to Europe, Southern Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Global demand for avocados is projected to rise steadily, creating a favorable market environment for Tanzanian exports. Investment opportunities abound in the areas of production of high-quality avocado seedlings to increase the yield of avocado. There are also opportunities for the establishment of large-scale farms or block farming for avocado production, the establishment of infrastructure for collecting, transporting, and storing avocados. Another investment area is in enhancing access to agricultural inputs, establishing agricultural tools facilities or a mechanization hub, improving marketing systems, and providing training on the development of avocado products to farmers and agricultural extension officers. Sunflower is another valuable crop in Tanzania's agriculture, with a range of applications from oil extraction to food products. The government aims to reduce or eliminate its reliance on imported vegetable oil and become self-reliant in producing cooking oil. Sunflower production has been steady, but the demand for sunflower oil is rising due to increasing health-conscious consumer preferences. At 600,000 tons, annual demand for sunflower oil in Tanzania is higher than the current supply of 180,000 tons. The 420,000 ton gap opens avenues for investment in production and processing. Tanzania imports a significant amount of sunflower oil, highlighting the potential to meet domestic demand and reduce imports. Local demand for sunflower is expected to reach 700,000 tons by 2030. With the right investments, Tanzanian sunflower products can capture regional and international markets. Investment areas include the production of high-quality sunflower seeds to increase the yield of sunflowers, large-scale farming of oil seeds, the establishment of modern oil seeds processing facilities, and the establishment of refineries. Wheat is a staple food in Tanzania. The government is committed to increasing domestic production to meet food consumption requirements, reduce or eliminate its reliance on imported wheat, and become self-reliant in producing wheat seeds. It is also committed to increasing the production of this crop because it has the potential to drive the growth of agro-processing, increase income for farmers, and create employment opportunities for youth and women across the value chain. Wheat demand is consistently high due to its importance in daily diets, yet local production falls short of meeting this demand. Annual demand, both domestic and industrial, is about 1 million tons. Currently, the country only meets 10% of its needs. This substantial gap between wheat production and consumption offers an attractive investment opportunity. Tanzania heavily relies on wheat imports, creating potential for domestic production to replace some of these imports. As the population grows, the demand for wheat-based products is expected to increase steadily. The Tanzanian government has earmarked 400,000 hectares of land for wheat cultivation by interested wheat farmers. As such, investment opportunities lie in the areas of wheat production by small-scale farmers, researching high-quality wheat seeds that have drought resistance and gluten protein, increasing wheat seeds multiplication, the establishment of large-scale farms, and supporting smallholders to grow wheat productively. Tanzania stands as a promising destination for agricultural ventures, boasting an array of attractive incentives that support and nurture the growth of the industry. The nation's commitment to fostering agricultural innovation and sustainability is exemplified through a comprehensive set of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives that are designed to encourage investments and drive advancements in the sector. Tanzania offers fiscal incentives on project capital goods exemptions. Investors are granted a remarkable advantage with a complete exemption on imported duties for capital goods, reducing initial financial burdens and facilitating a smooth project launch. Zero import duty on raw materials. Import duties on raw materials are eliminated, stimulating cost-effective production processes and incentivizing value addition in the agricultural sector. Tax relief on deemed capital goods. A noteworthy 75% exemption on import duties for deemed capital goods significantly eases the financial load on businesses, fostering a favorable environment for growth and innovation. With a 100% capital allowance for agriculture and 50% for fish farming, businesses have the opportunity to invest and expand their operations while benefiting from reduced tax burdens. Businesses can make use of a depreciation allowance ranging from 37.5% to 5%, optimizing their financial strategies and enabling them to make well-informed investments. Non-fiscal incentives include an automatic immigration quota. During the implementation of projects, an initial allocation of 10 expatriates is provided, with the added benefit of 1 expatriate for every 10 jobs created. This encourages the exchange of expertise and the fostering of a diverse work environment. The seamless repatriation of funds encompassing net profits, loan repayments, royalties, fees related to foreign technology, and employee remittances amplifies investor confidence and fosters financial fluidity. Tanzania's holistic incentives package reflects its dedication to the growth and advancement of the agricultural sector. By providing a conducive environment for investment, innovation, and sustainable development, Tanzania paves the way for a prosperous future for both domestic and international stakeholders in the agricultural industry. Strategic investors are able to enjoy more incentives than normal investors. The investor can have an opportunity to get over and above incentives provided by normal incentives. The strategic investor can be awarded based on the value or the capital to be invested, the contribution of the project in terms of creating employment opportunities, and the economic benefit of the project to the country. To support these policies, we have in place basic infrastructure services such as water, power, roads, rail, air, transport, and telecommunications available at varying degrees. Currently, one is assured of electricity and more generation is on the way. Most key economic centers are connected with good roads and more are being constructed. Telecommunication is adequately available throughout the country. We have revived our airline, Air Tanzania, which provides satisfactory services to various destinations within the country. Tanzania offers exciting investment opportunities in the avocado, sunflower, and wheat value chains. The government's development objectives, coupled with market trends and increasing demand, create a favorable environment for potential investors. By improving competitiveness, adopting modern practices, and investing in value addition, you can play a vital role in enhancing Tanzania's agricultural sector while reaping significant benefits. Thank you for watching, and we encourage you to explore the vast potential of Tanzania's agriculture.
Okay, thank you very much. I think with the excellent presentation by the Minister for Agriculture, and now we've seen the video, I think we've seen it all. And it's so attractive in terms of our readiness to attract investment in agriculture in Tanzania. Let me take this opportunity to introduce the Minister for Livestock and Fisheries, Honorable Abdallah Ulega. He's seated there. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Waziri. The floor is now open for any questions, clarifications from the presentation and from any other issue that you may want to understand if you want to come and invest in Tanzania, in agriculture. The opportunities are huge. Crops, livestock, fisheries. Only the sky is the limit in terms of the investment opportunities in agriculture in Tanzania. Karibuni. Can I have the mic? We have one on this side, another one, yes, another one on the other side. Anybody who wants to take the floor? It appears as if all the issues have been so well presented, there are no issues. You're all ready to come and partner with the Tanzanian people. Okay, Karibu.
Asante.
You know the lights, they a little bit blind. I can't see to the back. Karibu sana.
Yeah, sure. Please allow me to speak in Swahili. Naitwa Mandolin Kahindi,
If you can just introduce yourself and where you come from, your institution, your business, karibu.
Yes, naitwa Mandolin Kahindi, natokea Kijani Consult Tanzania. Nafanya kuprofile na kupromote shughuli za kilimo biashara hasa kwa vijana. Presentation imefanyika tu ni nzuri, pengine kwa sababu lengo ni kushowcase kitu ambacho tuko nacho Tanzania, ila mimi nilikuwa naomba kitu kidogo tu. Meeting point ya wadau wa Tanzania na hawa wawekezaji kutoka nje, kwamba ni kwa kiasi gani pia hata hawa wameandaliwa kupiki hizo opportunities zinapokuja, ili iwe business to business. Hiyo ndio kitu nilikuwa natamani kuisikia tu, kuona are we ready there to pick these opportunities which will come with the investors. Asante.
Asante. Another one? I hope those who cannot follow Kiswahili got the translation in English. Otherwise, the issue is for those who are really, local investors, what is the arrangement facility for them to partner with foreign investors who come to invest in Tanzania? What facilities are there, support, and so forth? I think we are all aware that as a matter of government policy and strategy, there's a lot of emphasis on, local content. I see PS Agriculture, I think, wants to respond to that one. Karibu, Katibu.
Kama alivyouliza. Kwanza nashukuru kwa swali lake. Moja ya jambo kubwa sana la mkutano huu ni kucreate a platform au kuweka jukwaa kwa ajili ya kukutanisha wawekezaji wa nje na wa ndani. Na tunafanya hivyo kwa njia tatu. Ya kwanza, tumeandaa deal rooms hapa, kwamba baada ya kikao hiki kuna timu ya wataalamu kwa ajili ya watu ambao wamekuwa interested na hii presentation, both ya wadhiri na hii video, kwa ajili ya kuorodhesha maeneo yao, na tunaweka kwenye mtandao wetu kwa wale wa nje ambao wako interested kufanya kazi na timu hii ya Tanzania. Hiyo la kwanza. Lakini la pili liko kwako mwenyewe, kwamba kama mfanyabiashara unajibrand vipi kwa align na international standards. Na hii ni kazi ambayo tunaifanya pamoja na wenzetu wa TIC, wamekuwa kutusaidia sana. Kwamba tumefanya mambo mawili makubwa ambayo yalikuwa yanakwamisha wafanyabiashara wa Kitanzania kutoka. La kwanza ni kuestablish lab kwa ajili ya phytosanitary certification. Hiyo imesaidia kuongeza mara 4 mauzo kutoka ndani kwenda nje. Lakini pia ni maamuzi ya Watanzania wenyewe kutumia lab hizo. Bado kuna watu wana export kwa kutumia njia za panya bila phytosanitary certification, bahati mbaya inashusha soko letu. Kwa hiyo la kwanza, compliance ni jambo muhimu sana, na hiyo liko ndani ya wafanyabiashara sisi wenyewe kama wafanyabiashara. Jambo la pili ambalo tumelifanya, tumecreate a market platform tunaita Kilimo. Mule ndani kwa mfanyabiashara ambaye hajui atampata wapi mnunuzi, anaweka details zake, anaweka anachouza, na timu yetu ya marketing inacheki naye, na hiyo kitu unaweza kaingia www.kilimo.go.tz. ndani utakutana na link ya Kilimo na utakutana na hiyo platform mule ndani. Jambo la tatu, via TIC tumegundua kwenye tathmini wale ambao wako kwenye agri, kuna wale ambao wanafanya kilimo moja kwa moja. Mheshimiwa Waziri ameeleza kwamba amecreate nafasi ya kuwa na mashamba. Kwa hiyo unakuja na idea, tunaichambua, tunakuintroduce kwa TIC, kwa sababu mwanzo ili uweze kupata land ni lazima TIC awe nayo. Kwa Wizara ya Kilimo imeamua kutafuta hiyo land na kuikabidhi TIC ili kushorten the process. Jambo la tatu ambalo tunalifanya kuhakikisha tunakuwezesha mfanyabiashara kuweza kutrade na wafanyabiashara wa kimataifa ni kuhakikisha tunaandaa mikutano hii mara kwa sababu mwaka huu leo tuko hapa, lakini tarehe 17 Mwezi wa 10 tutakuwa Uingereza, na baada ya hapo tutatangaza nchi 3-4 ambazo timu ya wataalamu wa Kitanzania wataondoka na wafanyabiashara wa Tanzania kwenda kukutana na wafanyabiashara wa kimataifa. Kwa hiyo tunaweza kuwa tuna changamoto, hatufanyi vizuri sana kwenye kudisseminate hii information, na hiyo ndio improvement ambayo tunaifanya. Lakini jambo la muhimu sana ni kuvisit official website zetu ya Wizara ya Kilimo ambayo inakuwa updated regularly pamoja na ya TIC.
Yeah, thank you very much, Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Agriculture, for that very clear clarification on the question that was raised by the participant. Yes, please. Karibu.
Asante moderator. I'm Victor Manyong. I work for the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA. I want to follow up on the excellent video on the tree value chain, especially on the wheat value chain. I applaud the effort of the government to produce more wheat in order to close the gap that is existing in the country. But at the same time, I would like to say that Tanzania is the 3rd country producing cassava in Africa. I will even say in the world. And we know that cassava can be processed in high quality cassava flour that can be used partly in the bakery industry and pastry industry. So what I want to say that at the same time that the government is promoting wheat production, we need also to look at what we already have here in this country, cassava, which is produced by many Tanzanian small-scale farmers, to create more market for cassava product, and the technology exists to include high-quality cassava flour in the bakery industry, and to encourage the private sector that are involved in the milling industry to be using high-quality cassava flour. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that contribution and advice. I can see PSC Agriculture nodding that took note of that. We are a huge cassava producer. There is a potential for blending to reduce the consumption of imported wheat while we are building up our capacity to produce more local wheat. Yes, please, you have the floor. Karibu.
Hi, thank you. My name is Jonathan Said from Growth Teams. I just want to ask about the nexus between agriculture and manufacturing and broader industrialization. I know the government has plans to develop industrial clusters as well. So how are we maximizing the link to make sure that all the products that can come from agriculture, value addition products, but also supporting industries, you know, packaging and textiles and so many products can really be maximized? If you can say a word about the plans for industrial parks and the links to agriculture, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question on the agro-industrial parks. I'm sure there will be a response to that one. As a matter of general policy, you know, the government is already giving very high priority to industrialization, and agriculture, as we know, provides about 65% of the raw materials for industrial development in this country. So I'm sure. I wonder if PSC Agriculture would like to respond to that. Karibu Katibu Mkuu. Can we give the mic to the PSC Agriculture, please?
Thank you, Jonathan, for that question. Agro-processing and value addition is one of our key priorities, looking at our Agenda 1030, which is the strategy we have enacted last year by the High Excellency, President Samia Suluhu Hassan. And our intention is at least 50% of the produce to be processed locally by 2030. What are we doing to make this happen? First, for the agro-processing, we need the policies. Before any investment, we need the policies which promote investment. And we have mentioned in the previous, we have a fiscal, monetary, but also we have a sectorial policies. And that include tax relief, also provision of land, processing, but also expertise. That is very important, so that we can reduce the cost of production. But secondly, what are we doing? Currently, there are the issue of electricity. Tanzania will be self-sufficient and have the surplus of electricity in the next 1 year due to the JK Nyerere project. I think that is a very important information to have for any investor who want to do a processing. But also, there is a ready market, and we are protecting it very carefully to make sure that whoever who is coming to invest is having the market. I think for a serious investor, those are the key issues to know, that there is a tax relief, there is a political will to support that, but also there is a market if you want to invest in the processing. But fourth and very important is there is the value chain which were mentioned to be in the priority list. And we have mentioned the three here. We have maize, we have wheat, we have sunflower, we have sunflower, and we have avocado. And why did we start with wheat? First, as an import substitution to save our dollar, but also to make sure that we are investing whatever we get as the foreign currency in the areas which we do not have a competitive advantage. But for the cassava, yes, we are taking it and we are working to get varieties which are needed in the old market. Because one of the challenges in the cassava now, and you will agree with me, that we are not sure of the taste of cassava currently. Those are from Kisarawe, those are from Tanga. We have different varieties and with different tastes. So currently we are working on the seeds and seedlings so that to make sure that we have the varieties which are resilient to the climate first, but secondly, which are, what I will say, which are demand driven rather than supply driven. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS. Another question, comment from the floor? Karibu. Can we have the mic? Where's the mic? Okay.
Thank you. My name is John Kagaruki, and I'm with Kickstart International. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. I think my point that I'll probably question, Mheshimiwa Mwigulu, I think this one will kind of be directed to you, because it's about the contribution of agriculture to our treasury. I think that's very important. That's your docket. So I believe that right now we have a drive on investment, and we have a lot of partners here in business, and we've got a lot of very good positive information towards what will happen in that area. But I think one of the things that we should address, which I don't know whether it's a gap, I know it's spoken of a lot, is smallholder farmers and their contribution towards the economy. What in particular are we doing? For example, I know in the area of tin registration, I think if I'm not wrong, the statistics are 5 million. So out of 60 million, and we said we have 18 was the median age, I think we were told here, 18 in Tanzania. So what are we doing in that area, and how can people partner? How can partners help towards encouraging people to be contributors towards the tax base? Because I believe this will put less pressure on us having to look at other areas which, for example, taxing imports, which seems to be the biggest contributor towards our economy. So maybe this might help in terms of the investment and people having ideas towards how we can have more inclusivity, because this has happened also in other countries like India, where smallholder farmers, or China. By lifting them up, basically it becomes easier even for large-scale investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that question of broadening the tax base, I believe and Honorable Minister, you want to respond now or after? You can do now. I think if you want to respond now, you may want to go ahead. Karibu Mheshimiwa.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, one of the main push to Her Excellence, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, on the motion which has been summarized by the sectoral minister is actually emanating from the contribution of agriculture and these issues, including on the side of the revenue. So far, the notable contribution of agriculture has been on the GDP, because it employs a big number of Tanzanians. But when it comes to the financial aspect on the revenue side, most of the farmers were lying on the side of the small peasants, cultivation just for consumption, and a small portion which lies on those medium to large size of cultivation. So the contribution so far is around 14. The contribution so far is around about 14 billion US dollars on the GDP. And then this is the basis of this agenda of making agriculture into business, turning it into business, and more specifically bringing the youth into agriculture, where we will be in position of widening the tax base and the contribution on the monetary value, which was the interest of my brother there.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that clarification. Any more comments from the floor? Okay, Karibu, I see a hand at the end.
Yes. Yeah, my name is John Matthew Mnali. I'm the Director of Investment Promotion from Tanzania Investment Center. Mine is just a comment. In addition to what you have heard on the incentives that are applicable to investors who are investing into different sectors, we have also another package of incentives provided under the Export Processing Zones Authority. Now, under the EPZ scheme, we are targeting investors who are looking for the export market. So if your company will be able to export at least 80% of whatever you produce, or if you'll be able to meet an annual turnover of 500,000 US dollars, then you'll be eligible to obtain an export processing zones license, whereby you will enjoy more benefits, such as exemption of corporate tax for 10 years, exemption of local government taxes for 10 years, and several other incentives which are applicable to investors under the EPZ. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that investment information on the available incentives. It appears as if we have exhausted our comments from the floor. And we have more participants joining us. We thank you for your very strong participation and those who are really prepared to stand up to participate. This is excellent. I think the meeting has been extremely successful in terms of involvement of our partners. I'm trying to find out if there is anybody else who has got a question, a clarification, a comment from the floor. Okay, I don't see anybody asking for the floor. So again, let me thank you very much, and now take this opportunity to welcome the Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Mwigulu, to give his brief concluding remarks. Karibu Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much, the moderator, my brothers, Minister for the Blue Economy, Minister for Agriculture, both from Zanzibar, and Minister for Livestock and Fisheries, Deputy Ministers, senior government officials, brothers and sisters from the private sector. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to air out the concluding remarks of our session. First and foremost, I wish to commend on the job well done on the partnership between our government and the African Development Bank. The partnership between Tanzania and African Development Bank is long-standing since those years of 1971. And Tanzania has been benefiting from both windows of African Development Bank, that is the African Development Fund and the African Development Bank. Anyway, I took it for granted. I did not introduce myself. My name is Mwigulu Nchemba, Minister for Finance, who happens also to be the former Minister for Livestock and Fisheries, who also happens to be former Minister for Agriculture, a grown son of a pastoralist, a grown son of a farmer, and a Minister for Finance who had a full passion on agriculture and livestock and fisheries. The support from the bank has actually been very effective and had recorded impressive outcomes. And this has been testified by the achievement which we have made in developing high quality infrastructure, that is in transport, energy, education, water, and other issues to do with the governance. As per our today's agenda, just like what has been outlined by the sectoral minister, my brother Hussein Bashe, what Tanzania is doing and what Her Excellency is doing actually comes from what has been the historic setup of agriculture in Tanzania and in most African countries. You will agree with me that the setup in most African countries does not deviate far from what has been the setup on the issues of agriculture, livestock, and fisheries here in Tanzania. Only that these recent problems have caused us to a loss of lives, but in awakening us, I can say that the COVID-19, the recent conflict between Russia and Ukraine has given us a very good alarm to show our vulnerability on our setup in our economies. We have a historic hangover where these productive sectors were condemned almost by everybody in our societies. my brothers who are, and my sisters who are my age mates will recall that since those days when we were at schools, if you conduct, in case of enemy misconduct, you will be punished by being taken to farms. You know. There's where we started to define agriculture. If you are late in coming to school, you will be punished by spending the whole day farming. You know? That was the most rough mistreatment you will be given by being late to school. Then we grown like that. Even when you are, we joined offices, in the government offices, the worst comment the junior officer will make once maybe feels mistreated by the supervisors, will say, look, I better go for farming, you know. Then that will also continue to define agriculture. As a result, agriculture was turned to be like just the traditional dances which are practiced by the aged and mostly those who are in local beers and the like. And then that was the definition the youth were defining agriculture, livestock, and fisheries. That it's a job done by whoever has missed any other option. And is a job done by a person who has missed on the proper channels of his or her life. Then what came, and now we are getting into it, that the population growth, which now has denied us that with our population we cannot actually create jobs for all the youth, the school leavers, graduates, and others, to be filtered in government offices, is now giving us the reality that those productive sectors actually are not for those who messed their lives. It is actually the life itself. And that is the essence that Her Excellency say, look, if we are to provide solutions on job creation to youth, we have to invest in productive sectors. If we are to increase revenues on our government coffers, we have to invest on productive sectors. And if we are to increase revenue from export proceeds, we have to invest in productive sectors. And then the main productive sectors in Tanzania, you cannot mention them without mentioning agriculture, livestock, and the fisheries. And definitely, they are the one who are employing a lion's share of the population here in Tanzania. Not only on these avenues, but there is another reality which is not well analyzed in most African countries. Even per capita GDP, the per capita income per person. We started together with many other countries, the Asian tigers and the others. In those days of independence, we are at par and per capita income of our people. But in the course of these years, we slightly added nothing compared to what they've earned in their per capita income in their countries. The essence, the main reason is that one, that we have a population, a large part of population, a large part of the workforce which is not at work. Or the youth, considering what is their parents doing is the jobs for those who have messed their lives, considering it's not the job they are supposed to do. They are big in numbers, and yet they cannot be absorbed in those white-collar jobs which we have been oriented since those days. So what Her Excellency is doing, and actually being part of those other reasons I have said, is first, to rebuild the mentality of the youth, to know that there is a business in agriculture, there is business in livestock and fisheries, and there is business in value addition to these products. And there is nice jobs and actually wealth in those production sectors, productive sectors, and in value addition. We had a common statement we were told, and then in between it went diminishing, but those days I understood it very well, and I thought we were even thinking, we are even singing, my senior brothers, Professor Kichila and Shemdoe, those days it was very common, and it was in Kiswahili. Kama mnataka mali, tapata shambani. I don't know who erased it in between. That guy is the one who messed us. Who erased that? It was very common, and actually we used to sing it. And whoever appeared to be not matching with that one, we used to look him differently, more differently. Any person who was like not understanding that one. So now we have increased the budget. Actually more than 4 times. We had 250 billion Tanzanian shillings, and now we have 927 billion Tanzanian shillings, and with an addition of P4R, which can take us to 1 trillion and 270 billion. And actually, the vision of our excellence, this budget will keep increasing and increasing. And we are looking forward in the coming financial year also to increase it. And we have revamped the incentives on the side of tax incentives for these productive sectors. We in the previous 2 years, I think we amended over 140 provisions which were a hindrance to the private sector, and mainly agriculture, livestock, and fisheries. And we'll keep amending those which will be perceived to be hindrances to investing in these productive sectors. And we have provided other incentives, just like what the minister said, by inaugurating again the guarantee schemes for both medium, small, medium, and the export guarantee schemes. And we are looking forward other avenues which will create the best environment even further in these productive sectors. This one goes hand in hand with the value chain, and we are looking forward even multiplying further other avenues as we write the new vision 2050. Lastly, we are looking forward the current situation, and we are looking forward even the unforeseen circumstances which has been happening. I said in the beginning that we are only mourning the lives we lost in COVID-19 and the lives we are losing in conflicts like Russia and the Ukraine. But as for we as Africans, seriously, this is the lesson which has exposed us, the vulnerability we are having in our economies. The vulnerability we are having in our economies. Just imagine, after over 60 years of independence, for African countries, not even to cry, even just to complain that we are suffering on fertilizers, we are suffering on cooking oil, we are suffering on wheat, just because there is a conflict in Russia and Ukraine. Seriously, it is a shame. Because, by the way, Russia and Ukraine were supposed to have wheat flours, were supposed to have cooking oils from Africa. Leave alone other countries in the deserts, the other countries in the far north and the far south. Even this green belt, Tanzania, Kenya, Zambia, Mozambique, Malawi, DRC, Uganda, you just take that line. It is enough to feed the world. only we have not dealt well with utilizing that comparative advantage, investing in the potential we have. We have left along the potential we have and invested in others which are not on our comparative advantage. So that is what Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and as I said, we thank also the President of the African Development Bank. Her Excellency said, look, let us invest on the potentials we have. And this one will trigger out a good number of other multiplier effect indicators which they go in line with these productive sectors. And as for now, it is good that Her Excellency has given the vision, and the Minister for Agriculture has seriously pioneered it as well. The Minister for Livestock and Fisheries, the Minister for Blue Economy, the Minister for Agriculture from Zanzibar, and we, people from finance, we also sing the songs from Her Excellency and from the line ministries in commerce. We move step by step with them, of which I believe the vision of Her Excellency will be achieved. And it will create a model for other countries which tells the essence of this showcase. As the Minister said, we are ready. We also from the Minister of Finance, we are ready. I believe the private sector also is ready. Let's partner together, let's work together, and I believe we will achieve the dream of Our Excellency, and we will achieve the dream of the country. I wish you all the best. We are closing, but we are opening. It's opening, so I wish you all the best in other panels and your full participation in other panels as you will be guided by the timetable. Asanteni sana na nawatakia kila la heri.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Finance, for really very good concluding statements. Again, very encouraging, very strong partnership with the sector ministries in terms of transforming agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to the end of this session. I know there are other sessions coming up. We started a bit early. Some of you may not have the time to take even a cup of tea, so I think within the remaining few minutes, you will be able to have a cup of tea or coffee outside. But before you do that, please try to socialize a little bit. You may want to change some cards. But also, we have the National Institutions for Investment Promotion in Tanzania, the TIC and the ZIPA, they are in the room. So can you raise your hand while you are please, so that anybody who wants to get any clarifications on investment issues, please, the authorities for investment are here. Capture that opportunity. And finally, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the Honorable Minister for Planning and Investment, Honorable Kitila Mkumbo. He is in the room. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Waziri. So he is with the investment portfolio. So we have all the investment, the big guys for investment in this room. Karibu sana. We also have with us the Deputy Minister from the Prime Minister's Office, Honorable Nderia Nanga. Karibu sana mama, karibu. And I also see our governor from the Bank of Tanzania, Dr. Tutuba. Karibu sana. So this brings us to the end of this session, and thank you very much, and wish you the best and comfortable participation during the following sessions and the rest of the week. Asanteni sana na karibuni tena.